We banging this out in an hour?
Ish. Who are those guys? Too young, dude.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to At the End of Fellowship 4, because we couldn't decide on a topic. And
No.
we've all been really busy, so we're just going to catch up and bullshit and see what's going on. Mike, Seb, how you doing, boys?
Good. Yeah, we're just going to do all the topics today.
We're going to do everything we can think of. No, I'm good. It was...
Mike's a little sad this morning.
I'm a little sad. It was my birthday yesterday. I was all good, but...
That's not why he's sad.
No, it's not why I was sad. We'll get to that. But I ran for the first time in like a month yesterday, and it felt really good. And I'm not sore today. And it was only 5K, and it felt like it was like 100 miles. But that's okay. Yeah. Well, the air quality here isn't all that good either. But I just took.
Yeah. Are you even supposed to be outside right now?
It's not bad actually. It's the skies are clear-ish, and like the air quality index it's below, well, what is it? It's only a 3. That's perfect.
Hey,
3 out of 10.
It's just like you're in the downtown core. You're fine.
Like when we got home on Tuesday, like it was like the apocalypse. Like I've seen it worse, but it was horrible. It was just awful. You couldn't see anything. It was cold. It was my garden.
And for those that don't realize, Mike is not too far from some major forest fires up in the central interior. When I was up there a few weeks ago, Mike and I had lunch, and the people I was up visiting actually had to pull out of their place basically in the middle of the night, had to grab their shit and go.
Yeah.
They're back. They're safe now. But that whole area is just absolutely devastated. There's lots of things that I saw a week ago that are now gone. My mom's old house in Sorrento, right off the main drag there, was surrounded by fire as well. I'm not exactly sure how that's turned out, but I know she was worried about that for sentimental reasons. So running up in all that smoke, buddy, that's got to be a whole thing. Now, we've not the first time we've had forest fires like that up there. Have you had to take a break in other years when you were running a little more consistently and that happened, or what's going on there?
Yeah, you just turn your focus to inside, just do everything you can indoors. And because they even like all of our like park systems were closed as well when it was really bad. They're open again now, but it's just the nature of living up here. It's so dry. There's no water. It can't water anything anyway. So, but it did rain for a couple of days, so that's kind of cool. Which helped.
We need it.
Fuck,
we definitely need the rain. Yeah.
Do we ever? So
yeah,
lots of misinformation out there too, of all because it's all about West Kelowna, which whatever, big city, burn it down. It's a big deal, but got some small communities out here that are basically left on their own to fight fires, save their own properties, and my lip looks like I've been punched in the face, but I have not. It has a cold sore gone wrong. You
got the herpes, do you?
Got that. Apparently I got the herpes. So I haven't had a cold sore in forever. And this one just blew up, and it's like, holy shit. Yeah.
Just call him Captain Herpina from this point.
Fuck off.
Yeah, it seems consistently over the last couple of years, the wildfires, because there's always one every summer somewhere in the interior, but they seem to be extra dangerous and impactful in the last few years.
We've been kind of surrounded by them this year.
I just want to one big one like huge one, because we have dozens every year, right?
Yep.
And we have an old friend, Jade, who is also up in that area I was in, just living there personally as her full-time spot, and she was very lucky to escape. So Jade, if you're listening, glad you guys are okay up there.
Absolutely.
I know it's not over, but stay safe, and you got to bug out.
And even not having any, like, because with Meta turning the news off, and a lot of people get their news through Facebook, whatever, right? It's hard to find. It's hard to find information on what's going on, and you just hear all the bad stuff now. You don't hear about all the individual, the sort of the hero stuff, but that's the nature of the news.
Yeah.
Shitty people make news, right? That's why, our buddy Uncle Donnie is always in the news.
Did you see?
A mugshot was the greatest picture ever.
But did you see what he claimed that his
Yeah, he's
height and
6'3",
weight is?
215. He's like Chris Hemsworth. It's like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah, it's funny.
Good times. Good times. At least we don't have a leader like him. We just have a younger version.
The scary thing is he still might win from prison.
He won't. He won't even get nominated.
I don't think you're allowed to run from prison.
You are?
I'm pretty sure that's
You are? You are?
He won't win. There's no way he'll win.
Well, I had this debate a while ago, and I researched it kind of, and apparently you can run from prison.
Oh, Jesus.
So if he wins, he'll pardon himself.
That's amazing.
Oh my God.
Hey, give yourself the ultimate power, right?
I can't even think about that. That is no, I'm not. I refuse to think about that. That'll be it's like something out of a bad comedy movie, but at the same time, I don't want to end up having to do the old Eddie Murphy joke again. He fucking won?
Yeah, right.
I don't think he even believed. Here's a question for you. It's not off topic, but in line with this. Who is an actor that played the president and nailed it, in your opinion? And it doesn't have to be someone like playing another president or like playing the president.
Yeah.
I have one obvious one, which you guys, it may not be obvious, but it just popped into my head. Michael Douglas.
The American president.
The American president.
That's
yeah,
exactly where I was going. He was awesome as a president.
He might have been the best president in a movie featuring like a president.
You're not going to say Harrison
right?
Ford in Air Force One?
Was he good as a president though?
No, he's terrible. Get off my plane. He was just playing,
Get off my plane.
That movie was so bad. But Michael Douglas. That's an underrated gem. I haven't watched that movie in a long time.
It's a good movie.
It is.
I'm gonna throw one at you. Martin Sheen in The West Wing.
Never watched The West Wing.
Okay, TV series. Yeah.
Yep.
That is.
I didn't see all of The West Wing, but I enjoyed what I did see when he was playing The West Wing.
Mm-hmm. Heard he was good.
Bill.
It's Martin Sheen.
What about Bill Pullman in Independence Day? Oh yeah,
that's what I was just gonna say. That
Captain Lone Star. It's the president.
Sure.
Right.
I mean, you could say Daniel Day-Lewis as Lincoln. Although I've never.
I've never seen Lincoln, but I'm amazing. I'm sure he was amazing, and
he got an Oscar for it. So
there you go. So yeah.
How about Jack Nicholson from Mars Attacks? Hello.
No. Fuck that movie.
What?
Come on, man.
Oh,
it's so bad. It's so good.
Movie.
We're fighting.
Yeah.
We're fighting.
Matt,
All right, folks. So for those that were in on the pool, it took 8 minutes for one of us to start fighting words.
Matt, I got 2 words for you.
Yeah, right. That movie is just such it's like an homage.
It's hilarious,
50s, but
man.
it's like a fuck you to Hollywood at the same time. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty meta on a satirical level, I think.
And then Jack Nicholson playing 3 different characters, and was it 3? Yeah, I think it was 3. He played the sleazy guy and the president, and then there was he was a doctor. Was he a doctor or something?
You play the president as well too.
So.
Yeah.
So
you know what movie I started watching the other day? I haven't finished it yet. Interstellar. I've never seen it.
Don't tell me.
So
don't
good.
tell me.
Oh my god! I'm not gonna say anything. I'm like an hour and a bit in, and holy shit!
Yeah, people have ranked it as his best movie he's ever done. Interstellar.
I would agree. I'm only that far in, and I would totally. It's shot in such an amazing way. Like it's just like it's got like all this sort of like early 70s space movie stuff in it, like just the shots and some of the robots and whatever. But I don't know. It's just the music, everything. It sucks you right in. And McConaughey's awesome. And he's just being McConaughey. He's just being himself. He's just all right. And it's like, yeah, man, this is cool. It's leaving Netflix on September 15th, so you better get to watch it.
Yeah,
what?
I think
it'll be somewhere else, but it's leaving Netflix on the 15th.
It's incredibly good.
Mm-hmm.
The ending got all over me. and so I've only watched it once.
Okay.
Incredibly good, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts once you get to the end of this one.
Okay.
I want to know if it hits you in the same place it hit me, and that's all I'm going to say.
Right in the gonads.
I am almost finished my Tarantino watch of all his movies. The last one I watched was Reservoir Dogs, and I have 3 left. And then I think I'm going to start a Christopher Nolan watch through of all of his works, because he doesn't have a lot of movies.
No.
Like, I think he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 movies, I think.
Okay.
And I think I haven't seen, so the only 3 that I haven't seen is Oppenheimer, Dunkirk, and Interstellar. I've seen everything else.
Dunkirk's really good too.
Yeah. And The Following, which is the first one he did before Memento, which I don't even know what that is. So
No. Memento was good too. I haven't seen that in
yeah,
a long time.
it's kind of a movie that was like spoiled for me because I knew what it was before I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that kind of ruins the allure of the concept of the movie.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah, it's too
yeah,
bad.
Interstellar is one that's on my list.
It's-
Christopher Nolan in general.
Yeah,
So-
it's really he's flexing some serious sci-fi muscle, and it's really good. It's well written. It's just everything is just all around awesome so far.
Yeah, I got the 3 big Tarantino movies left. I got Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, and Pulp Fiction.
Oh, nice. And Pulp Fiction holds up so well.
Probably the best movie he's done, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I gotta sit down and watch Pulp Fiction again with a notepad because I have a concept for a show that I'm not gonna let die, because I think once I have it figured out, it's gonna be a fun episode. So
Okay.
I guess have to do the notes so that you guys can use them.
Okay.
Notes help. They do.
I got to sit down and do the Pulp Fiction deal myself.
Sweet.
It's been on my list for a while.
Yep. Yeah, it's really good.
I mean, it's Tarantino, right? Like, Hateful Eight, I need to go back and watch because I've only seen that one once, and I think that's the only one I've only seen once.
Really?
Man, that movie would have been so much better if it was like 30 minutes shorter.
What, Pulp Fiction?
No, Hateful Eight.
No way.
Possibly.
Dude,
Hateful
they're
Eight,
in the
no way.
haberdashery for like 2.5 hours, man.
absolutely.
It's a 3-hour movie.
Yes.
Maybe it feels like a 3-hour movie. It's just
movie in a cabin. It's awesome.
there's too much stuff going on there.
No.
There's
like-
a lot of stuff going on in that movie.
I have to
But
watch
there's
that again.
too much needless dialogue in there. You don't even try to.
It's been a minute since I've watched it. Maybe I'll agree with you if I watch it again. But going on my first watch, when I first watched it, whenever it came out, I wanted more. Give me more. Just the dialogue, just people sitting around talking. Just give it to me.
Well, that's kind of the problem with Tarantino, right? Like it's
diarrhea dialogue. It's just everywhere. It doesn't stop.
he's trying to make the dialogue real, but you're also watching a movie, so you can't. I don't know. It's tough to. If we were just to do dialogue in movies as people actually spoke in real life, it would be a chaotic mess, and nobody would understand anyone what they're saying. Right?
And
like
and
if you're in a
nobody would-
structured conversation like a podcast, it's different. But if people are just like at a table talking, usually it's like chaotic mess, right? So
Sure.
you have to kind of funnel your dialogue for the purpose of moving a story forward in movies and TV and books. You know, if you do too much of a real dialogue, you lose the audience in progressing of the story, I find.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, finding the right balance, making your dialogue seem organic and real, also moving the story forward is a trick. So, and I'm not saying Tarantino is bad at that. He's one of the best dialogue writers ever. I just think he knows that.
Of course he knows
and
that.
decides to film a rotating, spinning thing of 15 minutes of people talking that have no point to the story whatsoever. Case in point, Death Proof.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
You know, just get to the car parts, man. That's what everyone wants to watch.
Right. That's all we want. Just get to it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun. Grindhouse was fun. I remember putting that together when I was still working at the theater, and it was all put on one reel. And there was right in the middle there, as I was putting it together, I couldn't quite figure out what I was seeing what I was seeing on the film as it was passing through. And I'm like, did they put trailers in the middle of the movie? Which is exactly what they did.
Exactly what they did.
Well, because one movie ends and the other one starts halfway through.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was exactly it. As we had finished putting together, I think Planet Terror was first, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think it was, yeah.
And then at the start of the next reel, what we do is we would check to make sure that, it's the scrap, the head and the foot of the film are off. And I'm like, well, what is this? This is not. And then I, move forward a bit and move. I'm like, they put trailers in here? And I said, to hell, okay, threw it together. I'm like, I need to watch this and see what it was all about. So we screen it for the staff. And I'm like, okay, I came back. I'm like, okay, we have credits on this one. And what do we do? Oh. And it was some fantastic shit. Some of it actually ended up being made into a movie.
Machete
and Hobo with a Shotgun for movies.
That's cool.
And it's awesome.
Listen, you put a name like Hobo with a Shotgun and a studio, you don't even need a story. This there'll be like 100 studios that go, that is a bankable name. Let's make a movie of it.
Oh yeah.
It just, because you know exactly what it is by the title. You know exactly what you're getting yourself into.
Did you guys know that Danny Trejo is
not hard to design?
Trejo's 79 years old. He's old. I didn't realize he was that old.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I knew he was kind of old, but it was like 79. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, no.
Okay, here's a question for you. Who plays the hobo in Hobo with a Shotgun?
No, Rutger Hauer.
Rutger Hauer.
Oh wow. Could you guys?
Yeah. Only because I'm looking it up right now.
Oh, I knew that. Yeah, that was cool.
I don't think I've ever seen it, to be honest.
Delivering justice.
I've never seen it.
One shell at a time.
I should watch the trailer.
All right. So what else did you boys get up to?
Well, the sports world is all abuzz with Messi's heroics and antics. They have not lost a game since he joined Inter Miami, and he has basically scored a handful of clutch goals at the last minute to win it for Miami. They were in a League Cup final, and it went 3-3, went into shootouts. It went to the 11th shooters.
Oh my god!
So it was goalie versus goalie in the shootouts, because you can't take, like, you have to go through the entire squad before you go back to the first shooters.
Yeah.
And so the Miami goalie scored, and the I think, who were they playing? Nashville, I think, missed. Or
That's
the goalie saved it.
Hilarious.
So yeah.
Goalies.
But here's the difference when you look at Messi in Inter Miami. He's like genuinely happy to be there.
Seems like it.
There's so much joy and just, having a good time, and he celebrates his fellow teammates' accolades and goals, and everyone on the team has stepped up to play better now that they're on the field with Messi. He's just got this aura of getting the best out of you.
Yep.
Did you know that they hired a bodyguard for Messi? It's like an ex-Navy SEAL guy, and you can see him at the games walking back and forth on the sidelines. So he's allowed to be in the coach's box and walk the field. And there's YouTube videos of him in action where a fan will jump and try to get a picture with Messi, and he's on point. He'll just run in and just block him. So he's literally paid to guard Messi all day long. But I mean, he's arguably the highest profile soccer player in the history of the game at this point.
Oh, for sure.
And I will not even entertain the Ronaldo is better than Messi debate at this point in life. Messi is clearly the better soccer player.
He was it was never, to me, it was never a debate. Messi was the better, Ronaldo could score goals, sure, but he wasn't the setup guy. Right, like you say, the guy that makes everybody better.
Yeah. So they did a stat of the top 10 goals and assists in a single year, and Messi holds the top 7 records for his career, and then Ronaldo is 7th, I think, or 8th, and then it's Mbappe and then Lewandowski. But Messi combined with goals and assists is Wayne Gretzky. He's like the Wayne Gretzky of soccer. You can't tell me different.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they did, there's all this is debate about like, well, Ronaldo scored more goals, right? But every stat where you line up the games played and his age, like if you factor in like, well, where was Ronaldo at 34 when Messi was at 34? Messi beats him in every statistic. Like he's needed less goals to get to 700 to 800 to 600, or sorry, less games to get to these benchmark goalposts, so to speak. And yeah, like it's infuriating how these people are just still so like Ronaldo's the best player ever. He's not. Like
No.
he doesn't make your team that much better, but Messi makes every single person that's on your team better. But anyways, yeah. So apparently the Apple subscriptions have doubled since Messi has been part of the squad. So and
You're
ticket
thinking about
sales.
it.
Yeah, I mean,
You were in the pre-show. You were telling us you're thinking
Yep.
about dropping some bucks on that one.
Well, the only problem is a lot of the games are on like Saturdays, so
You're
it
busy.
kind of I work on Saturday nights, so but yeah, he's something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Matt,
Yeah.
what have you gotten up to in the last? We haven't
buddy,
talked in a while.
I've had a busy couple of weeks. First and foremost, as of 2 days ago, Enforcing the Fundamentals with Doug Harding is out. You can find that everywhere you find us: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. We're not streaming live to Facebook just yet, but my dad and his life experiences are coming out on a podcast. The very first one's discussing the whens, wheres, whys, and hows of he started coaching hockey at 13 years old and moving up to the birth of his best looking son and the Victoria Cougars in the late 70s and early 80s.
Nice.
The episode after that covers the launch of the Nanaimo, not the Nanaimo, the Cowichan Valley Capitals team and what he did there. A couple of names get dropped, and in our third episode, one of those names comes to play, sits down, talks with us for an hour. Ex-Canuck Jeff Courtnall.
Very cool.
And that was really cool. It's been a while since I'd seen Jeff. He doesn't remember me having facial hair at all. It's probably since the early 90s, the last time I saw him. I first met him back when I was just running around the arena, like 3-4 years old. Probably even younger than that, because as I would find out, Dad and Jeff had a fairly long history that probably predates me. So those are going to drop every week. I'm aiming for Wednesdays, so check those out. We'll be, of course, sharing them and everything. But just seeing my dad light up when Jeff finally popped into the stream was really cool, and it happened exactly like I thought it would. I got the ball rolling, and they just talked and bullshit like old hockey players do, and I'd ask a question here or there. But my big problem was on this giant list of questions I had. As they were talking and going back and forth, they're answering them before I had a chance to ask them. And I was like, okay, nope.
That's perfect.
Covered that.
So
covered that. It was really cool. Really fun.
When did your dad coach him?
He honestly,
like as a kid?
he had picked him out of Victoria Minor Hockey, the Bantam Hockey League there at Oak Bay Rec Center. And he had Jeff in the Cowichan Valley Capitals.
That's awesome.
They tell a really good story on Dad having somebody come up and take a look at Jeff, and that was the game where he told Jeff, look, this guy likes to fuck with you. Here's how you fix it. Do it today. And Jeff had no idea he was being looked at. That story is lived in my family for many years, and his dad was telling it, and to have Jeff go, that's exactly how it went, was awesome. So cool. I highly recommend. That'll be our episode 3. If you guys are into hockey, if you're into sports at all, if you are or have young coaches, if you happen to be on the bench, or if you have young kids that are in any sport, Dad's approach to this is more mental than get out there and do this drill and then this drill and this drill. It's a lot of stuff that you use to build up a human inside or outside of a sport. It's really, really fun. I'm finding out all sorts of things about my family I didn't know. If you
That's
watch the
amazing.
YouTube version, you can see my jaw drop at several points. And at one point, I called a full-on timeout because something had been said. And I'm like, I had no idea what was going on. Hold
You
on.
needed a minute.
Wow. That's
No, I have questions. We're going back to this sentence you just said. I'm cutting you off right here. I need to know more. So it's been really fun. I'm really looking forward to having this keep going. We barely scratched the surfaces of his career. We have another one of his ex-players that wants to come on and have a chat. We just haven't been able to iron that out yet. And yeah, enforcing the fundamentals with Doug Harding, the Facebook page. It's on Apple, it's on Spotify, it's on YouTube. Check it out, especially if you're hearing this for the first time and are one of the people that Dad had under his wing that you spent some time coaching or learning from him. Go check that out. Share it with any old teammates that you may have. And this is what he's doing in his retirement. We're giving this a shot because it's easier than trying to write a book for him. So
absolutely.
It's been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing.
And then other than that, we were supposed to go up to a cabin in Oliver last week, and we decided not to drive into the forest fires.
That's probably a wise.
Yeah, it really was.
It's a wise idea.
I'm not going to say that I said at 11 o'clock, maybe we should rethink this, but at 5 o'clock, somebody else said it and everybody else listened, but that's cool. I didn't feel, ignored at all. So instead we went down to Seattle, did a bunch of Seattle things, saw some cruise friends on the way down, had a really nice lunch and a really long chat that turned into almost a dinner time thing. So that was really fun. I love seeing my cruise people outside of the cruise, really. Did Space Needle, did Pike's Place Market, and did Mopop. Have you guys been there?
Yeah. Well, we went there when it first opened, but I went back, I don't know, 1,000 years ago now, when it was actually Mopop. It's really cool. It's a really, really neat museum for music and the sort
That's the Museum of Pop Culture, right?
Yes, the Museum of Pop Culture. It used to be EMP, the Experience Music Project. I was there.
We were there for the opening day of that there, Mikey.
We sure were.
Okay, so you guys have been through there. Yeah. I was there.
To be fair, we actually never went in it. We just went to the concert that opened
we just went to the show, and that was it.
That was
I was there, I think in 2003. We were killing time before WrestleMania 19, as I think because I know the guys I went with, and we went to Seattle for wrestling a couple of times, but I think it was before WrestleMania 19 I went in there.
The golden era of wrestling.
Golden.
No, I said 2003.
I gotcha.
Eddie hadn't quite risen yet, and we did a really cool improv show that night too, or the first night we were there, because we sort of got there and our littlest member he's a little dude. He's a single digit. And so our youngest daughter, who was there as well, they hung out, watched a movie. They both fell asleep. We went to an improv show. Can't remember the name of it. It was blue comedy. It was all female improv that night and doing just filthy, dirty jokes in improv. And it was really fun.
Cool.
Yeah, it was. Cool. We had a great time. Did Wild Waves as well down there. And I had to come back Tuesday. I brought a friend of the show, Sarah, and our resident comedian, Spencer, back with me. And my wife and youngest daughter are currently on their way back from Puerto Vallarta because they just flew out. They decided they weren't going to do the rest of the Oregon, San Francisco route that they had sort of thought of, because it was just cheaper to go to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
What exhibits did they have in the museum? I
am glad you asked.
Because when I went the last time, it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. They had a Marvel exhibit, which is So
we have our guitar sculpture. The big exhibit they had in here, like Lakia Films or something like that. It's the film company that did Coraline. This here is the James Cameron script from Aliens.
Oh, nice.
He's got notes on.
Awesome.
So we got the Science Museum down there.
Very cool.
Little Iron Man, Luke's lightsaber. That's Pike Place Market there.
Ah,
I loved this display. You come into the hall of
That's
the
amazing.
music area, like the jam area where
Yeah.
they have the instruments and the sound rooms, and that's the air guitar is right at the door. That's
you
fantastic.
can actually play instruments in there. They have like a little instrument demo area. There's like drum sets and guitars and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's several of them. There's a recording area. You hear your voice. So basically, they had the studio that does a lot of the recent stop motion. So Box Trolls, Coraline, Paranorman, Kubo, and the Two Strings had an exhibit set up with all of their actual sets and puppets from doing the stop motion. You can see some of these here. This is Missing Link. More Missing Link.
Very cool.
I like that movie.
And so this is from Kubo, and I love that. The ship from Kubo, that's probably about 10 feet long.
Wow,
that's
big.
Set up. And I just loved all these displays. And there's some Box Troll stuff, but the one that really got me, and it's right as you walk in, I had introduced my kids to Coraline at a young age. So, and these are all actual puppets too. These are all the actual puppets they made for the movies. And that's their freight elevator.
Nice.
I love what they did with the freight elevator. They paint them up on the second floor. So below this one, it's painted like Super Mario Brothers, the original game.
Oh, cool.
And it's just life-size enough that our little 5-year-old buddy Spencer was able to get in there and pretend like he was Mario and hit the boxes and everything.
Ba-ding, ba-ding, ba-ding.
Yep. Right
That's
there.
coins.
And there's our little buddy Spencer, and that is the life-size Coraline set, the exterior for the house. And that's what
Very
you see
cool.
right when you walk in. And it was super cool. Some other stuff. Their science area, little Ghostbusters proton pack, the hoverboards from
Back to the Future.
the Alien set with the models there. This movie looks stupid. It probably never go anywhere.
No, I heard. Yeah,
nobody's gonna bite on
some
a
small
space
indie.
war on a snow planet. That's not gonna do nothing.
Space pirates and shit.
So I took Spencer to Toy Traders about a month ago, and he was
What?
absolutely terrified of the Terminator setup they had.
The one in Langley?
Yeah, and as you walk in the door, the very first thing you see is a Terminator. So I thought, cool, we're not that right there is right inside the door. Like, cool, so we're done in this exhibit.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's hilarious.
And that's right outside the door from the day the Earth stood still. My wife got excited. She thought she was cashing in on some insurance money
Life
there.
insurance.
Not so much.
Not so much.
She was very unfortunate when she realized that the door didn't close.
Yeah,
Kept
right.
trying to close the door.
And this is in the horror section. This is one of the zombie outfits from the Thriller video.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
You got Blade's outfit, the dress from Adam's Family that Morticia wore. Like, come on. That jump started a few things. Some actual Gelflings from the Disney show.
Nice.
The mask from Game of Thrones. And the world's worst video game this was. They had a nice little video game, and you could go in there and do things like strip naked and pee. It was weird. It was like, and it's like
So
the
Matt
study
enjoyed
section
it?
is you're just picking up, Conan Sword. You're just picking up porn magazines and like awkward teenage behavior for fun and profit, right?
Yep.
So, and that was that was fun. That was worth every second of it. We had done the Space Needle before that, but getting back in there, it's like, you know what? I got to go see this. I missed it when I was here in January. We should have gone, especially considering most of the wrestlers from the show the night before were actually in there. Totally worth the money. Absolutely go. If you're in Seattle, make time for it.
You know that they're redoing Blade?
What?
Yes, I do. It keeps getting stalled.
Yeah. They
lost a director, and then the ongoing strike is also a problem.
I mean, that's going to screw everything over now, honestly.
Well, Dune just got pushed back till next year.
Yeah, and they were having other issues before that. There was some. I don't think it was an actor. I know it was the director. Maybe a writer or something. I don't remember, but it's been pushed back a couple of times. So we'll
Yeah,
see how it turns out.
I'm not even familiar with the guy that's playing Blade.
He was
I,
in the
he was
Luke
in
Cage series for Netflix.
he was in House of Cards. He was in like 30 episodes.
Oh, Luke Cage. That guy that played Luke Cage is good.
Mike
Yeah,
Coulter played Luke Cage, but he's not playing Blade. It's one
Mahara
of the other guys.
Mahershala Ali.
Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, so he's playing Blade in the new Blade.
Nice.
I guess Wesley Snipes wasn't available.
Oh, well, Wesley Snipes is notoriously fucked up the last two.
And he's
I think
old.
Triple H fucked up the Blade, but that's fine.
No,
Just kidding.
no,
I'm
it
just
was
kidding.
Snipes that did it. It was his bullshit on set. Like it was stupid stuff like refusing to open his eyes for a scene, and trying to get a scene where I think Jennifer Biel. I don't
Jessica
remember.
Biel.
Jessica Biel, thank you. Jessica Biel trying to get her in a topless scene. It's like, bro, come on.
Seriously.
But yeah, Wesley Snipes, he got a little too big for his britches there, and it seems that he really sunk that third movie. Also, Ryan Reynolds' first superhero appearance, playing Hannibal King.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Superheroes.
So he actually plays two Marvel superheroes on screen and a DC.
So
yeah, I'm just gonna stick with that.
Is there any superhero movies coming out that you guys are excited about recently? Or has your like Marvel DC fandom kind of stopped a little bit?
Mine stopped after the last Avengers. I just don't care.
So many Marvel movies, hey,
it's too much. I really enjoyed the cast of the Avengers. Robert Downey, Chris Evans, blah blah blah. I like those guys, and now that they're gone, I couldn't care less. It's too much. I tried, you try keeping up, and it's just fatigue. It's just like, holy crap, slow it down already. Enough. Like, I don't.
Well, I mean, they've slowed down considerably. I highly recommend some of the Netflix stuff or not Netflix, Disney Plus stuff that's come out since then. Falcon and Winter Soldier was great. WandaVision was cool. I really liked Moon Knight. I
couldn't get into it.
She-Hulk was a wonderful little break. I pissed people off because they were expecting some serious female ass kicker, and what they got was the version of She-Hulk that sold all the comic books, which is a little closer to the Ant-Man movies, where it's tongue-in-cheek, fun, breaking the fourth wall. And I really enjoyed it because that was what sold the books. So that's the proven formula. Most of the public was pissed. It's like, well, no, that's not the character. I'm sorry that you think the character is something else, but it's a lot like people going, I didn't know Darth Vader was so mean. Yeah, he's the fucking villain. And that's what I think about when people complain about She-Hulk. It's like, I'm sorry, you don't understand the character. You just thought you were getting this. It ain't it.
But it's such a departure from what's a traditional template for Marvel movies, right? So a lot of people that aren't purists might be a little jarred by like, what am I watching? Because it's
that's the other thing is, the masses cry out. It's like, well, it's cool, but give us something a little different. Okay, here's something a little different. No, we don't like this.
Yeah.
Pound sand, asshole. You wanted different. We gave you different.
Well, it's like that in so many franchises. You mix it up, and then people are like, "What the? This is the worst thing ever." And then, well, take the sequel trilogy. You get the book ended too that are, the JJ movies, and then you get we're going to give you different for episode 8 to give you different, and the public's like, this is the dumbest shit we've ever seen.
Even to take that a step further, Solo was a complete departure.
Yeah. And it was good.
It was a heist movie in space. Yeah. There were no laser swords.
No.
There was no epic battle at the end.
No.
And not everything's an epic battle. This is a heist movie. Yeah. Everybody was like, well, we're tired of it. We want something a little different. This is such an expansive universe. We want something different. They served up Solo and everybody went, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Where's my
But he had to do the
shade?
Kessel run in 12 parsecs. Come on, man. But
What is a
Solo was-
parsec?
I don't know.
It's a unit of measurement.
It's space talk, Seb.
Would you like me to explain how that
No,
actually
because
works?
they have talked about it for a while. So
So I mean, and I remember reading that in a book way back in the day, and was like one of the Kevin Anderson Star Wars novels. They explain that, and it was backfilling holes, right? Like,
Yep.
they like, okay, so we said this. How do we get around it? It's like no different than, okay, so we've been shit on for 30 years about the fact that you throw a stick of dynamite down this hole and the whole planet blows up. How do we fix it? Oh, well, it's sabotage.
Yep.
That's all Rogue One was filling one plot hole. They did it really, really well.
Yep.
They built a whole fantastic movie around it, but all Rogue One was meant to do was fill that one plot hole.
Mm-hmm. Well, they kind of fix it in Jedi. Instead of just throwing a bomb down, you just fly a plane into it. It's different.
Well, I mean, that's a little easier. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And my curiosity
Easier
is they had been building that since long before. So did somebody go, yo, guys, stop work on this section over here. We got to fix something.
Right. So let's just make the hole bigger so we can fly a whole plane into it. It's like, come on, George.
Well,
you're better than that.
Jedi's
so lazy.
It's like when you see an apartment building getting built, it's like, well, the first 2 floors are done. Why can't we move in? Because the other 30 aren't, you freaking moron.
Yep. Yeah, greed and power, it'll do it to you, right? You just don't think.
Absolutely. Speaking of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Here we go.
Some
Jedi business.
No spoilers, though, because some people may have not watched it.
We're going to avoid the spoilers. We're going to try and talk around as much. So I've seen the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Mike, you've seen the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. Yes. Sebastian is going to hammer through the rest of Clone Wars and Rebels before he starts Ahsoka. I applaud your restraint, good sir.
Oh, I'm going to be well away from Ahsoka for quite some time because I'm actually going through the chronological order. I have a list here somewhere, which I don't remember where I put it, but I will find it in a second.
I'm curious to see this list of how you should watch these things.
Okay, hold on. Let me go grab it. I'll be right back.
We'll find that. We'll take your headset off. Okay, spoilers.
Oh my God.
No, I like what they're doing with Ahsoka. I really do. I am familiar enough with the characters from games and other media that I get it.
That's good. I think a lot of people aren't going to get it because they don't know, because I think this show was made for nerds like us that it's not fan service is the wrong word, but it's
no, you're right.
It's like Dave Filoni
is about the right word.
Yeah, Dave Filoni he is Star Wars. Yeah, I think he should. They should give him the keys of the kingdom and say, here, just you make your movies. We'll finance whatever instead of
he's doing. He knows what, and again, it's much like going back to the She-Hulk thing. He knows what content is already popular. He knows what content is already hit.
Yep.
He's not redoing it. He's extending it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
We still haven't seen the full crew from Rebels. There's still a couple of missing.
Well, we got one of them in Andor. We got one in Andor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's going to show up in this. And
he probably will because he
has to.
Andor, or was it I think it was last season of Mandalorian. Wasn't it?
Yeah, he was in Mando. That's right.
So
Mando.
I mean, he's around. I
there.
don't see why they wouldn't eventually get there.
Mm-hmm.
And I really, really enjoyed that little cameo in Mando.
Oh,
that
hell yeah!
Cool. Oh yeah.
And Chopper is the best droid ever.
Yeah, he's
a mouthy little shit.
Super entertaining.
Yeah, he's so good.
And they got Hera and Ahsoka, and we've seen Ezra.
Yeah,
but we haven't on hologram.
I got theories, but I'm not going to say anything on this because I don't want to.
I bet you have the same theory I do. We'll talk about it offline.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this is the watch order, but apparently there's something I should be watching before The Phantom Menace. There's, I guess, Young Jedi Adventures is a TV show. I don't know if you are aware of it. Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures.
I've seen the icon on Disney Plus, and I'm like,
yeah, there's 7 episodes apparently. I think I don't know, but I'll go with this. So this includes the movies and the TV series. So it starts with The Phantom Menace, Attack the Clones, and then it goes into the Clone Wars movie, then the series, Then we go back to Revenge of the Sith, Star Wars: The Bad Batch, Solo, Obi-Wan, the Star Wars Rebels series, Andor season 1, Rogue One. Then you do the 3 original Star Wars, so A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do Mandalorian 1 and 2, Book of Boba Fett, then Ahsoka, then The Mandalorian 3, Star Wars Resistance, Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, Star Wars Resistance Season 2, and then The Rise of Skywalker is the last one that they have.
You can just skip the
I'm
last one.
very curious about that list because Ahsoka's sandwiched between Mandalorian 2 and 3. And you
After
missed this.
Boba Fett.
Mike and I were just talking about there's a cameo in Mando 3 that is right in the crew for the Ahsoka series.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about how they figured that out.
Yeah, who made this list? Because
we're 2 episodes deep. I don't think enough to go on to say it fits between Mando 2.
Because I've heard things about the Ahsoka.
Should I watch Ahsoka after Mando season 3?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay, that may be where I put it in differently because there wasn't a definitive answer to that.
Yeah, because nobody.
So
knows.
This was.
Yeah.
Because there's only 2 episodes of Ahsoka, right? So it just kind of fits in. But apparently it's supposed to come before Star Wars Resistance Season 1.
Wow.
So that makes sense because the Resistance is the rise of the First Order, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything for sure, but I've heard might be some time hopping in Ahsoka. I don't know anything, but there might be some time hopping.
Makes sense.
Right.
I can see where they would pull that off. But I'm really excited to see how the rest of it goes. I think this all hit it hit all the happy buttons.
Oh,
because it's not a character dump. They're not like, oh, we gotta go and assemble the team, and it's like in 20 minutes you're introduced to 5 or 6 new characters.
Not at all.
There is a couple on that list, and I'm like, how are we pulling this off?
Yeah,
which leads to we'll talk about our theory afterwards. We'll get rid of
such a shame about Ray Stevenson too, because he's brilliant.
Oh God, yeah,
brilliant. Well, it's just
he's doing such a good job.
Yeah, he's like the perfect whatever those guys are. He's the perfect version of that. And same with his apprentice. She's awesome too.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I started the Clone Wars last night, the animated movie, and really early on, you see the Padawan Ahsoka in there, and like, oh, this is like perfect timing to watch this.
Yeah,
because Ahsoka's just come out, right? So,
and I'm pretty sure, like in the deleted scenes of Revenge of the Sith, there is an Ahsoka scene that George never put into it where Anakin kills her.
Oh, that's good.
But it was just green screen. There was nothing. He was there in some like water. I can't remember what it was, but I'm pretty sure there's a deleted scene probably on like DVD or whatever. You could probably find it on YouTube, but I'm pretty sure, he whacks her during Order 66. But
all right, good.
That never came to fruition, and it's clearly didn't happen. So, but Rosario Dawson is the only person that could play that character. The only. Yes. Nobody else can play her besides the voice actor did a great job, but that was voice acting for the animated stuff. But man, she is perfect to play Ahsoka.
Yeah, and I got
Rosario Dawson
back from the trip, and it had dropped, and I didn't realize it until right before I went to bed that night because, my phone basically blew up with people talking about Ahsoka from literally all over the continent because wrestling nerds are just nerds. And it's like, it's already out? Oh, crap, it's already out. Yeah. And then I happened to wake up way too early for work, so I started hammering it out at like 4 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday.
Yeah.
No, it was good. Speaking of my phone blowing up with wrestling nerds, rest in peace, Wyndham Rotunda, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt.
That was shocking.
We lost Terry Funk on Wednesday, and we lost Bray Wyatt on Thursday. It's been a bad week for wrestling fans, and
at least Funk was old, right? Funk was old. At least he lived his full life.
Funk was in his 80s.
Like 36. Like, like, what the hell?
36, 3 young kids. He was one of the most creative and willing to do something different minds in wrestling. Like the outpouring of love from his coworkers over the years. My phone was nothing but Bray Wyatt all day Friday.
Yeah, I bet.
Anytime I checked any social media, it was all Bray Wyatt, which is ridiculous, even for somebody that has as many wrestling fans as I do. And it's all got people we follow, or people sharing things from people we follow. Everybody is just absolutely devastated. Not since Brody Lee passed away a few years ago, who was in the Wyatt family with Bray, he was Luke Harper, has this sort of outpouring come. People are shocked. And it was COVID. He caught COVID between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, which is why he was off TV. And it exacerbated a heart condition, and he had a heart attack at 36.
Yeah, fucking COVID's no joke, man.
And fucking COVID deniers, sort your shit out.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
seriously, look at the fucking evidence, not the YouTube bullshit from somebody that dropped out of 8th grade science. Fuck.
I mean, that's a hot topic, right? You know,
is.
it may not be COVID as his cause of death, but COVID definitely complicated some underlying systems that he had, deficiencies that he had in his health and his heart. So, you know, one would have to think, if he never got COVID, would he have had a heart attack, right? Like,
No,
you know,
he would not have.
Yeah.
And so here's the thing. Okay, sure, COVID wasn't the thing. However, your car stopped working.
Yeah.
It ran fine after you ran into the semi-trailer. You were able to get it home.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get it started again, and it had to be written off. Well,
the system the human body all works with itself, right? So if there's an ailment that prevents one aspect of your internal organs from working, it will affect the other organs more or less. So yeah, it's just shocking, because I don't know if he was slated to return on the recovery, but I remember he just disappeared off of wrestling, and they had like all the stuff worked for him in the coming months, and then they didn't even talk about it. It was just like he was featured one week, and then they never talked about it afterwards. Like, no mention of him whatsoever. So, and then just until
with LA Knight, they were building towards WrestleMania. They had come up with a new specialty gimmick match for him, which I wasn't fully on board with. I haven't really been on board with his in-ring work for a couple of years, but his creativity was fantastic. I get to a point where if you're that creative, show me something in the ring too. That's where Undertaker won for me. He was a departure.
I don't know, man. He has one of the best finishing moves.
Right?
Like, Sister Abigail is hard to come up with a unique finishing move, but he did it. Like, and it looks, when he nails it on someone, especially if you're like a lighter person, just the way he finishes you with that move, it actually legitimately looks like a finishing move.
And it's got that nice little flourish of the kiss on the forehead, and then ends you shit. That has probably become a very, very common move in the next several years. We're going to see everybody and their dog use that. It's going to become like the DDT.
What do you mean, the super kick?
Yes, that too.
Can we just get off of the putting somebody on your shoulders and like throwing them off finishing move? Because like every second wrestler I see has the same put him on the shoulder, and like, you know, you got John Cena, you got Brock Lesnar, you got what the hell's that new girl's name that's with fucking Trish Stratus, whatever her name is, Zoe Starks. Bianca has one like that, you know, like it's just it's like a go to sleep type move, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know what? You can come on Cheap Seat Book and we'll get into this, because before Mike's head explodes.
I do have something to add.
Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Please.
You guys all know I'm not the biggest wrestling guy. I can't, like, if the kids are watching it, I'll sit down with them and watch it, whatever. But Bray Wyatt, like, the Fiend was my favorite character I've like ever. He was so cool. It was out there. It was different. The entrance with the, you know, the light, the sort of the torch thing, like the lantern and all that, and just all the creepiness.
But you believe him.
Yeah,
when he speaks, when he says the words, he's connected to the character.
Yeah,
right. It's him.
So well. It's like watching a movie that you love. You buy into the characters. Just like Ahsoka, Ray Stevenson being this Jedi guy. I'm buying it.
Yeah,
we all know that Jedis aren't real. Blah fucking blah. he's selling it well. And Bray did the same thing. He sold what he was doing so well to me, and I just like, yeah, it's shitty. 36.
He had
bullshit going on, and then COVID killed you. It was like, the fuck.
Yeah.
At 36 years old, man.
He had a huge following. I mean, when you think he's 36, you think back at how long since, I mean, like WrestleMania 32, he was wrestling The Undertaker and had a great entrance. Unfortunately, it was an open air stadium and still daylight, but I mean, they'd kill the lights in the building and his fireflies would come out. Everybody's just holding up their phones. It's a lot like when we used to hold up lighters at concerts, right? Like people that didn't smoke took lighters to concerts just for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, he had tens of thousands of people singing "You Got the Whole World in Your Hands" back to him on his entrance. He made a following. He made an impact. He had a lot of injury issues. This was just fucked. And especially when I see things like, so AEW has a pay-per-view this weekend. They've filled up the Wembley Stadium. So Jericho's over there. So Fozzie's over there. Fozzy are doing concerts at the concert. I think it was Thursday night. Must have been Thursday because I read it yesterday. So Chris stopped and paid tribute to Bray, to Wyndham, and the crowd in front of him started singing "The Whole World in Your Hand."
That's cool.
At the Fozzy show. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. He was, by all reports, one of the best liked superstars in the locker room, just a good, solid dude. And it's a shame to read all these things afterwards. You read all the tributes. It's very much like when Brody Lee passed away, and he died during COVID, but from a different lung thing. And he had disappeared off TV for a while. There was rumors he was going to make it back, and then he was gone.
Yep.
WWE Shop released all of his merchandise, and all of the profits from those sales were going to his family.
Oh, that's cool.
Everything was gone in seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had a buddy jump right on it, and he was disappointed to find out that there was nothing left. I'm like, I guarantee you they're going to drop more. They're printing more right now. I promise you.
Yep.
You'll get your Bray merchandise. So, if you're a Bray Wyatt fan out there, just don't forget to go grab that merch, support the family, give them a little something, because there's only so long that lasts. And with 3 young kids, mama gonna need it.
Yep. Mama gonna need it. Yeah.
Yeah, Bray. It's tragic because I didn't mind him as a wrestler in the ring, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like he's kind of like put in a spot where he is Mr. Gimmick, so put him in the gimmick scenarios. It would have been nice just to see him do like a regular match instead of all these like, Matt, you're muted yourself.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Yeah, you're muted, dude.
I can see the little mute icon.
Yep.
There you
go.
Mixed it.
Yeah.
No, he was doing some really, really cool stuff, character-wise, and that's great. Don't get me wrong. He was doing. I loved the Firefly Funhouse bit. I really dug his creepy Cape Fear style, like backwoods lantern carrying cult leader thing.
Yeah.
The gimmick is great. The gimmick is what's ultimately going to sell tickets in the U.S. Right?
Yeah.
U.S.-based wrestling is different from Japan, which is different from Mexico, which is different from Europe. And that's what sells in the U.S. That's why most wrestling fans that are hearing me are listening to this going, oh, yeah, it's just a giant soap opera, because that's what sells, right? It's when you can add a layer to that entertainment that is a badass match in the ring. That's why Eddie Guerrero is great.
Yeah.
Right? That's why The Undertaker's great. That's why Flair and Savage and Hogan and Michaels are greats. And I wish I had been able to see more from Bray. And the WWE is notorious from toning it down. It's like, no, we're going to focus on the character and the drama. So I don't know if we ever really got to see what he was capable of in the ring. I mean, there was some pretty cool shit, but I was often overshadowed by gimmicks, and it really doesn't matter anymore because a man has lost his life and children have lost their daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And he was a good family man too.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a turn here to like get out of the somberness for a
Please
moment.
Yeah, please.
Are you guys aware that I just had it here. Hold on a second. The series premiere on October 12th of the new Frasier.
Oh, it's actually coming out, eh?
With Kelsey Grammer, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of fell off of Frasier about midway through.
Okay, well, a different one that premieres on the same day, which I would encourage you guys to take a look at, is The Fall of the House of Usher, which is
yeah, I've been looking at that.
Yeah, Mark Hamill is in it, as we were talking about Star Wars. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it is an actual TV series, a season, or if it's no. It seems like it's a seasonal thing. I thought it might just be like a one-off 8-episode series. Yeah, but it does say season 1 in it. So
is that for Frasier or the?
No, for the house, the Fall of the House of Usher, which is based on Edgar Allan Poe's works.
Yeah,
which is a phenomenal poet. Yeah, so I'm just kind of looking at like TV shows premiering in the upcoming months. So
Frasier, I don't know. Like,
yeah,
like John Mahoney's gone. I don't know if they're bringing the other two back. I can't remember. David Hyde Pierce and what's her name? Jane Leaves.
Yeah. Were you guys big Frasier fans? I mean, I was a huge Cheers watcher. I wasn't that into Frasier.
I watched it, but it wasn't
first couple of seasons. I was,
kind of fell off. Like Matt said, you just fall off. I just think of Kelsey Grammer now as Stinky Pete from Toy Story 2. That's who he is to me now. Because, these reboots of these old shows,
well, it's not a reboot. It's Kelsey Grammer said it's the last act of his character. So
whatever, like, sure, but I don't know. I think the one that did it the best and is gonna not be beaten is Will and Grace. Like they brought that back, and that show was freaking hilarious. I hated it. I love that show.
My wife
never watched Will and Grace.
It's good. It's funny, man. It's funny.
Granted, I also hated the first iteration of it. I just thought it was too many fucking irritating people in the same room for me. And I like to be the most irritating person in any room, so maybe that was it.
Maybe that's why they upstaged you and you couldn't do anything.
It could be. And I started drinking heavy since then, so I'll take what's her name on. Let's have a go. Actually, you know what? I had started watching and I had meant to, and I picked it up, and I was 2 weeks premature because I was hoping to hammer through the whole series. Is the Justified, the new Justified series, City of something,
Primeval,
City Primeval. Yeah. So I'm 6 episodes deep in that. I'm waiting for the last 2 to drop to the on demand. I think one's left to be broadcast, and one is just sitting in that limbo between on demand and its original air date. I'm really enjoying it. I forgot how much I missed Raylan.
I never watched the original series. I
highly recommend it. Highly recommend Justified.
Have you guys watched The Wheel of Time on Prime or read the books at all?
I tried to watch it and I turned it off. It was
really interesting.
Didn't grab.
I have all the books. I think the last 6 or 7 I was like day and date hardcover purchase. Love that series.
Yay or nay, Matt? Yay or nay, Mike?
Oh, it's a huge nay. I didn't even finish Lord of the Ring show, and I love Tolkien.
What?
I didn't. I couldn't.
Oh my! It's so good.
I couldn't do it. It was.
I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Do it.
Wheel of Time's better.
There you
go. I
go.
will fight you to the death.
All right, so we're gonna bookend this with Matt and Seb booking another scrap.
Yeah,
no, but seriously, I love what they did with Wheel of Time. Sure, there's some stuff I don't really am not super on board with, but it's also stuff that I'm willing to push past because they are sticking close enough to the content because it's 15 books and they're not small books.
I know.
These are some thick things. I've read the first 9 3 times.
Okay, so let me ask you this
twice,
question.
And everything after 11 I've only read once because going back to reread the whole series.
That's not doable, right?
It's I got to change my life and have more time to do that.
Yep.
And it's like a year plus of my life to do it. Right.
Yep.
Like I just don't have the time to tackle that. I've tried to recommend it to my kids. None of them have picked it up. And I'm like, I remember my sister-in-law and I were both big fans, and that last book came out, and it would be just like Facebook back and forth. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe that's how this character's story wrapped up, how this one's wrapped up. This loophole they used here. You know, this one died, this one survived. I don't understand. This part was so sad. I cried over here when this character did this and that happened. They can't do 15 seasons of it. So I have to accept that they're going to cut out giant chunks. And by giant chunks, I mean...
Or they're going to amalgamate seasons. So they'll do like 2 books will be 1 season, basically.
Which is... That's trying to cram 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. You got to be real careful with that.
I have read the first 2, I think, or maybe the first 3. I can't remember. It's so long ago. But I kind of fell off reading it because I don't know why. It's just, it was fine. You know what I mean? It was just fine. But like everyone always tells me about the Wheel of Time series, how amazing it is. But I just found it very predictable in terms of like where the characters are going and what's happening. And I've also heard that it gets pretty convoluted, and please don't hate me, internet world, that it gets pretty convoluted and slow paced in the middle section of the book series. It's like it starts off great, and then there's like a couple books in the middle where you're just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it starts to accelerate again near the end of the book series.
I disagree.
Do you? Okay. I've never read them. I've only read the first 2, I think.
So I wish they had moved a little further forward, but there's not a lot of just waste time filler. It might seem that way, but it all comes back around. I would say Dragon Reborn's an interesting one. So that's the 3rd book, and they take one of the main characters out, and he barely appears in the book because it's the other characters searching for him and trying to figure out where he is and what he's doing. And really, the end of that book is where it really picks up steam, and it's just like, oh fuck. And it does. It's these 5 characters, 6 characters at the start of the TV series. In the books, they separate, and they go years in book time without seeing each other, but they're all working towards things that comes back together. It is one of my favorite series. I can't recommend it enough. Like, it's worth every second to read. If you have more time than I do, check it out.
You know what it is? And this might be very superficial and naive of me, but it's his name. I do not like the name Rand as a main character. It's not a hero's name. Like, it's just not. And I remember when I read, and this might be the stupidest thing to say, but I remember when I was reading the first book, I just couldn't get over. I'm like, I just kept thinking, I wish he had a different name.
Okay, so
honestly, like, is that stupid or me or no?
Our old buddy, the bastard Randy, and no offense to my current buddy out there driving cookies around North America, Rand.
Well, his name isn't Randy; it's Rand. It's different.
It's actually a little bit worse than you're making it sound out to. I understand where you're coming from. I got used to it. First name Rand, last name Althor.
Why wouldn't they just call him Althor?
Althor's a better name than being Rand Althor.
Althor
Sounds like he's on Buck Rogers or something. I don't know. It just
Well, and they do actually do a good job of. Well, pardon me. Robert Jordan did a really good job of, as the book goes along, he explains the etymology of the name and how and why and this, that, and the other thing, because it's a world that is destroyed, and there is one book, I believe it is The Fires of Heaven. I'd have to look into it, where it is very much steeped in, most of the party is now gone into the desert with with the people that I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. But they go into the desert with the desert people that are just straight up badass warriors, and they find some magic artifacts eventually. Rand sees how the world ended up where it was from where it started, and realizes that his name is connected and means this. And these desert people used to be these kind of people. And it is an eye-opening couple of chapters as they are doing the world building. It's like, oh, these people you think are this used to be this. And these people that are now this used to be this over here. And these people, holy shit, you should have seen what they used to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's excellent world building. As somebody that's a connoisseur of that, Sebastian, I highly recommend. I mean, even get the book on tape or the Audible, like, and listen.
I was actually thinking about getting Audible, but I have so many podcasts to listen to. I'm like, I can't put another thing.
And books on Audible can be very long. They're a thick book. It's just like, oh my god, 50 hours later. It's.
I will say, out of all the authors that I've ever read in my lifetime of reading novels, there is nobody better at naming characters than George R.R. Martin. I think his characters are so perfectly named, and that is like a masterclass in actually really thinking hard about why you're naming your character the name that you chose it as a writer, because you're playing God in a novel. You can design and create the character to be whoever you want, right? So it's just so aptly named, every one of his characters, that makes sense why they're called that.
He's really good at defining a family lineage for that stuff as well, right?
Sure, yeah, like
especially when you're dealing with the royals, where it's like, well, I'm gonna be named after this one, and then he's got little notes and backstory. Just one final note on the Wheel of Time: the last 3 books were written by Brandon Sanderson.
That's correct.
Based off the notes that Robert Jordan left behind, because he found out that he had a terminal and rare, I believe, blood disease, and wasn't going to make it. So he put a lot of time into doing notes, and it's like, I need this character here, this character goes here, here's the ending, I want this character placed over here and here and here. Please fill in the blanks, and found an author he trusts. Brandon Sanderson polished that series off. You could not tell the difference between the 2 writing styles.
That's amazing.
So I'm also gonna, if you're out there listening to this and you like this sort of wizards and witches and swords and sorcery sort of stuff, even though it's not, I almost said not that heavy on it, but it's well explained and there's good rules around it. So it is fairly heavy on it, but it's not just flippant usage for usage's sake. Check out Brandon Sanderson's work as well. Absolutely great stuff.
Perfect.
Seb, do you think Winds of Winter will ever come out?
I'm just looking at that. The latest blurb from him, he says that he's finished 3/4 of the book. He has about 500 pages left on his manuscript, which is more or less like 200-300 pages, I would assume.
Yeah, it's all cuts and crap.
Yeah. So the rumor is that it's it's next year, like November, December of next year. But I know we've been saying that for like the last 8 years.
I was going to say, it's like every November, December.
He got a point where he's so detailed in it, and once it's published, he's got to be careful about painting himself into corners. And having been a very loyal follower for many years, not so much anymore, because I got real tired of his fucking football blog.
Well, he did mention
into a corner with the details, right? And now he's got to not only avoid his own details, he knows what fans don't want, thanks to the last season of Game of Thrones. So now he's got to try to find one. He's got to work around where his characters actually are in the books, because they're not all where they are in the TV series. There's lots of characters swapped in and out, plot lines cut. So he's got to avoid his own writing. He's got to avoid the mistakes that the TV producers and writers made in rushing that last season.
The only shitty thing is that there's another book after The Winds of Winter.
And
there's no way he's not making it to do that. There's no way.
Well, he's
He's in his
Call it
70s,
Brandon
isn't he?
Sanderson. Here's my note, bro. Finish this off for me.
Yeah, it's something. So the first book he published in 96, The Clash of Kings was 99, and Storm of Swords was a year later. So I mean, he can do it because those were his two best books of the series, and he released them within a year of each other.
He was in the
Then
zone.
yeah,
He probably wrote one book that was 2,000 pages.
Well, that was the third and fourth book, right? They split them into two because it was so long. He just said, "Fuck it."
No, that was the fourth and fifth.
Oh, whatever. That's right.
The
Yeah,
Storm
the
of
last two
Swords.
books-
Yeah.
Feast for Crows or whatever.
It's like we're not going to be talking about this character and this character very much because they're going to be in the next book, and we're going to not going to talk about the bunch of these guys very much in the next book because they're in this one.
Yeah,
So,
he
the way
released
that works.
He released The Dance with Dragons in July of 2011. So it's been 12 years since he's released a Game of Thrones. Like,
Okay, so here's the bigger question: do you still care?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the best book series I've ever read, and
I want to see how he avoids the pitfalls the producers made.
Well, there's different storylines that are afoot in the series, right? Like there's a bunch of characters and people are in different places than they are in the So
and how he works his way out of his own detail and around the pitfalls of the other ones.
Yeah.
And takes these characters that were repurposed for the show and fleshes them out because there's some extra princes of Dorne and shit that went on in the last book that you're like, oh, okay, and it's never touched on in the TV series. They're just like, we got to cut it.
Just looking at the sisters, the princess sisters from Dorne, there's only 3 of them in the TV series, but I believe in the book there's like 8 or 9 of them.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So
That guy was slanging yogurt. But then there's also
okay.
is I believe one of the older ones, sons, as adult sons, and a bunch of his companions left Dorne, snuck out, and were off trying to court Daenerys and made a mistake in a dragon pit.
I think
they never touch on that.
I think the biggest travesty, well, not a big, I wouldn't say the biggest, but one of the big travesties of what manifested in the show versus what is the realistic expectation through the book is the Euron Greyjoy character. If you have ever actually Google images of Euron Greyjoy of what he's supposed to be in the book versus what you got in the TV series, it's completely different. Like he's not this playboy pirate that wants to fuck. Like he is the guy that has sailed to the darkest corners of the planet. You know, he's been to the heart of dark. He's been to the birthplace of the dragons, like on the sea. He is like, I'm not going to say primeval, but he's a dark, imposing individual, right?
So bad man.
Absolutely. I think
he's a bad man.
Full character, absolutely. They got Tyrion right personality wise. They couldn't show his actual from the book. Tyrion's way more fucked up. He gets right fucked up in that Battle of Blackwater. He's missing a nose. He's all scarred up. He basically looks like a living gargoyle. They kind of left Dinklage alone. I think they gave him a little scar. They
gave him the big scar down the face, right? That was
But that was supposed to have taken his nose off, so that like in the book he's described as not. So basically looking like he's been rotting for 6 months. I do care. I absolutely do care. I want to see how he does this. I want to see where these end up. The thing I'm tempering all that with is I don't think that the major characters' endpoints are going to change.
No, I don't think so either.
Some of them might, but
I think our major 4 or 5 characters' endpoints are all going to stay the same. With
I think Jon Snow's story is different in the book.
I don't.
It's his main character, man.
Well, he did tell them how it ends. He knows how it ends. It's just the way they're going to get there is going to be different because George has more time to do it, and the show didn't.
I don't think he told him exactly how it was going to end. I think he told him like ballpark of like this is where the pieces are going to be, and John's going to do this, and but I think the whole Night King battle is going to be completely different.
It'll be good.
I do not think that Arya is the one to spoiler. Arya is the one to
Tab.
to do things.
Okay. I mean, fair enough. I'd be okay with that. I don't
There's
think
so
Daenerys,
much
Jon,
untapped.
Arya or Brandon's story is going to change as far as where they end.
Okay, I'm just gonna fucking go on this because I'm annoyed with it. But like, this goes back to like the first Night King War, where the Snow Night King invaded Westeros. Right?
Mm-hmm.
There is a reason why Winterfell is called Winterfell. It's because that's where the previous battle happened, and that's literally where Winter fell, where they felled the original Night King. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people speculated that there's something buried in the crypts that the Night King wants, like a relic or an artifact, right? And what are all the like swirly things supposed to represent that they never even talked about, right? So there's all this stuff that they never did on the show that could like just go deeper and deeper into the reason of all these things that are there, right? So I actually do believe that he has so much more seeds planted that were never grew in the TV series that it's going to come out in the last 2 books, which will just give you so much more reasons on and believable, logical reasons why things are happening. So, you know, I'm intrigued. You know, I haven't really thought about Game of Thrones since last year when I watched House of the Dragon. I know once I think we get a definitive timeline of when The Winds of Winter is coming out, everyone's going to hop on board the Game of Thrones train again. I will probably reread the entire series when that happens, go from there, and then dive in.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, it's nice to forget though, right? It's nice to forget about a IP for a while and then revisit it many years later in life because it's new and fresh again.
Yep.
You know, you can't constantly be living in a Star Wars world or a Marvel world or a Game of Thrones world. Like you have to be able to I think it's nice to be able to let go of that and then dive back in again after some time. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. No,
That's it for me.
I'm looking forward to it. I agree with everything you just said. You know, take a break, drop out of your fandom for a little while, read something else, watch something else, open up your world. And I think that's one of the things that leads to toxic fandom is just this is all you got.
Yeah,
all you got, buddy. No, it ain't. It's all you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go aside, pick up a different book. Turn the channel, watch a different thing.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where you run, Mike.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot.
In the haze, just bring your hazmat suit.
Yeah, just wear a gas mask. It's all good.
There you go.
I'll send you one.
Sure. Thanks.
All right, gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been real. We're creeping up on an hour and a half here.
Creeping.
I love being able to just sit down and bullshit with y'all. So for everybody listening, we will be back at some point next week. We're going to have to figure that out. We may have a topic. I think we will have a topic. I think Seb's got a couple of things brewing.
Yeah.
So
I'm hoping to have it ready for next week. So,
yeah. Whether or not it's live or we're recording again, we don't know because I think next weekend's a long weekend, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything, but hey.
Good. Whatever. It's about time you got some time off.
Seriously.
You've been busy, man.
Who knows? We might do a football prediction show next week.
Oh, yeah. There's that too.
And Matt's really excited about that one.
I'm going to have lots to say.
You can be the vessel for questions.
Fine. I'm fine with that. I will be the guy with the stupid questions and conspiracy theories.
Please.
Which is great. And then I'll be like, so is Joe Montana still with the Niners or?
Yes.
He came back. They re-signed him 30 years ago. And now he's back at the ripe age of, I don't know, he's probably got to be close to 65 by now.
Yeah.
103. Like, and he's a shark. He is their starter.
And Steve Largent is their wide receiver.
Largent. Oh. Jesus. Wow, look at you.
Wow.
That's going back to the 80s.
Right? Yeah, man. Wow, Steve Largent.
All right, we'll be back. Please check out Enforcing the Fundamentals with Doug Harding as well, especially if you or your family members or children are in sports. You're going to pull something out of it. And if you happen to know Doug, please like, subscribe, and share. Like, subscribe, and share to us on Apple, YouTube, Spotify, and Twitch and Facebook. And you can even send us an email if there's a topic you want to be, brought up. And join us on our live chats as we get a little bit closer to being in hospitable weather to be outside. We'll be back live regularly, and we're looking forward to having you all in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. That's all I got.
That's it.
Peace.
Happy Saturday.
Have fun in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
Mike.
how's that new bucket of yours, Seb? You good? Is it
Oh, it's good. It's good.
You got that padded seat cover
Yeah.
on there?
We'll talk about this next week. We'll
talk about the
we'll
bucket
talk.
next week. I hope you empty it. Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.